Hello viewers of YouTube, my name is WonkaVite and welcome for the first time to my channel. Today we are doing a iceberg, but it's not a regular iceberg, it's about Portland, Oregon. Portland is very weird. I've spent half the day now researching how weird Portland is for this iceberg chart, and I'm not the same. And if you don't believe me that Portland is a weird place, you probably will after this iceberg. I'm not even touching this one. It's still a very sensitive subject for a lot of people. If you're not up to relatively current affairs, just search it up. So the Nike Trailblazers, I think they're, from all I can tell from my research, they're just a there's just a series of Trailblazers made by Nike that have Portland on them. If anyone knows anything about this or how it's connected in any way to something weird, yeah, leave it in the comments below. But I couldn't find anything on it. This is a mantra used by local Portlandians as kind of a way to promote local eccentricity and art projects. And as you'll find out, Portland attracts weird things. I'm not sure actually if Portland attracts weird things or if it creates weird things itself. I just find it funny that Portland is such a weird place that they're basically their unofficial slogan is "Keep Portland Weird." It's a show. It seems like it's just a show that it's set in Portland. It's made by Fred Armisen, who's an SNL alum, and it's just about like the hipster culture and how weird Portland is. And I've heard I haven't seen it. I've heard it's good. So check that out if you want. The Metropolitan Area Express, or MAX, is a light rail system that runs through Portland and serves it. It's basically it's just a public transit system. It's their train system. Coin toss is in reference to the very interesting story as to how Portland got its name. So, in 1843, two New Englanders by the name of Asa Lovejoy, who came from Boston, and Francis Pettygrove, who came from Portland, had staked a claim in Oregon, and they were deciding on what to name it. So they flipped a penny, known as the Portland penny today. And if it were heads, then Francis Pettygrove would name it Portland, and if it were tails, Lovejoy would name it Boston. Obviously, we know who won. It landed on heads, and it was named Portland. Powell's Books is a chain of bookstores. As far as I understand, it might just be one bookstore. Anyway, it's local to Portland, and it's known colloquially as the City of Books because the big one is really big, and according to them, it is the largest independent bookstore in the world. Okay, so this one... if you don't know what Polybius is, it's like one of the most infamous online mystery. It's not even an online mystery. It's like one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries, urban legends of all time. And I'm not nearly researched enough to talk about it, so I'm just going to literally read you part of the Wikipedia page. Polybius is a fictitious 1981 arcade game from an urban legend. The legend describes the game as a part of a government-run, crowdsourced psychology experiment based in Portland, Oregon. Gameplay supposedly produced intense psychoactive and addictive effects in the player. These few publicly staged arcade machines were said to have been visited periodically by men in black for the purpose of data mining the machines and analyzing these effects. Allegedly, all of these Polybius arcade machines disappeared from the arcade market. This urban legend has persisted in video game journalism and through continued interest has inspired video games with the same name. If you want to learn more about Polybius, there's a great video here on YouTube by a YouTuber named Ahoy. I'll link his video down in the description. It's a great video, but it is over an hour long, so... Voodoo Donuts refers to a donut company that's based in Portland. It unsurprisingly has like a voodoo aesthetic, and it remains a very popular tourist attraction and a local shop. They have all sorts of donuts. It's a big donut shop. That's okay. Portland really, really, really loves food carts. They have a lot of food carts. I don't know why Portlandians love food carts so much, but you search up food cart and then Portland. There's like a list of how many food carts there are in Portland. It's got the most food carts. The Silicon Forest refers to a big cluster of tech companies that is located in Oregon, or specifically in or around Portland. It's just it's like the Silicon Valley, but it's not. It's a bunch of tech companies that all are based in Portland that are in the same area. So this is exactly what it sounds like. There are the highest number of microbreweries and strip clubs per capita of any city in the world. Mills End Park leprechauns. Okay, here's where we start getting into the really weird stuff. According to this guy, I'm not gonna say his name because you can read it yourself. He wrote a very popular column called Mill Ends, and it was all about and he wrote a lot of articles about the park. And he was an Irishman, and he claimed that Mills End Park, which is one of the smallest parks in the city, if not the smallest, because it's just really tiny, was home to the only leprechaun colony west of Ireland. There have been leprechauns spotted there since, apparently, and most of them were spotted by this guy. And yeah, apparently Mills End Park is home to at least to one or more leprechauns. Okay, we're gonna see this repeated, this name, Shanghai Tunnels, repeated a lot in this video. Also known as the Portland Underground, the Shanghai Tunnels are located primarily underneath Old Chinatown and they connect businesses to the waterfront. They were possibly used by organized crime groups to smuggle alcohol during the Prohibition, and even possibly today. And they're also possibly haunted. A lot of weird stuff happened in the tunnels, and we're going to see it again referenced throughout the whole thing. This is actually a fairly well-known one. So Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, grew up in Oregon, and he named a lot of the characters after streets in Portland, such as Flanders Street, Lovejoy Street, and Quimby Street, aka Flanders, Lovejoy, and Quimby. Largest World Naked Bike Ride event refers to a nudist bike ride event known as the World Naked Bike Ride, which takes place semi-annually in Oregon, is usually to raise money for charities and such like that, and it's a clothing-optional bike ride, and it's the world's largest nudist bike ride. This is not, by the way, the last time nudity will show up on this iceberg, and I apologize for that. Leica Studios is the stop-motion animation company responsible for movies such as Coraline and Kubo and the Two Strings, and a lot of my favorite animated films, and their stop-motion animation. And their actual studio is located just outside of Portland, so that's why this is on the list. Benson Bubblers are an interesting ornamental bronze drinking fountain, and they're named after Simon Benson, and they're scattered around Portland. So apparently the story had it that Simon Benson wanted his employees to stop coming into work drunk, so he designed and funded the placement of a whole bunch, funded and donated a placement of a whole bunch of these really cool water fountains. Forest Park is a public park in Portland. It's infamous for being the hiding places of three corpses that were killed by the serial killer Todd Allen Reed. We think he committed at least one of these murders in the park, but the rest of them were committed outside of the park, and their bodies were just hid in the park. There's also a couple other murders that happened in the park itself, but the most famous one, as far as I can tell, is about the serial killer Todd Allen Reed. Mount Tabor is a volcanic vent with a park on top of it, named after the mountain Israel and in the Bible. It was the home of multiple reservoirs, but then there was some sort of controversy around it. I don't really understand it. I'm just going to link the Wikipedia article. The White Eagle Saloon is a rock and roll saloon that's infamously haunted. It's one of the most haunted places in Portland. Founded by the Polish, I'm not going to butcher their name, here's their name, brothers. It also used the Shanghai Tunnels to smuggle illegal alcohol during the Prohibition. This is something that we know. It was also known as one of the most haunted locations in America, and has a whole bunch of ghosts that come in and that are seen throughout the place. This is a relay that's the largest walking running relay in the entire world. That's basically all there is to it. It's just a really, really big walk. Turning a freeway into a park refers to Harbor Drive Freeway. And in 1974, it began demolition and was eventually turned into what is now Tom McCall Park in Portland, Oregon. Vox's swifts, yes, it is Voxus, not Vo, are a type of bird that are native to Oregon, and a chimney in Chapman Elementary School, Portland, contains the largest known roost of migrating swifts in the entire world, and the swifts total over 30,000 every September. Old Town Chinatown is the oldest neighborhood in Portland. It's also famous for the Shanghai Tunnels, also the possible organized crime that took place in them and around Old Chinatown. It's also garnered a reputation in the modern era for being the most unsafe neighborhood in Portland, acting as a haven for drug addicts. Another haunted hotspot, Portland's Lone Fir Cemetery, has a bizarre history of moving around and even paving over gravesites, specifically of Chinese immigrants buried there. It also has a lot of unmarked or unnamed grave, but that's mostly because it's so old, and it has a lot of ghosts, apparently. and a lot of weird stuff has been known to happen there, and it's apparently kind of creepy to go in. It's like, what I like about it, the idea is that it's, when you watch those old Scooby Doo cartoons and the graveyards are always super creepy, but in real life, graveyards are usually very peaceful and calm. This is like the only one. This is like Lone Fir Cemetery is like one of the ones that is kind of creepy when you go into it, and it's really old. Old Town Pizza used to be a high society hotel, the Merchant Hotel. It's connected to, say it with me now, the Shanghai tunnels, and has a resident ghost, Nina. She's often felt by guests in the middle of the day. And apparently the whole place has a very eerie and macabre feel to it. I don't know how their pizza tastes, never been there. This celebration lasts all October in the sleepy little town of St. Helens. It's just outside of Portland, about 45 minutes. The town was the set for the little film Halloween Town, which I've of course seen because Halloween's my favorite thing ever. And it's still celebrating that. It's apparently a really, really fun celebration. I'd love to go sometime, and the town takes it pretty seriously. I'm gonna link their official page in the description. This one is my favorite on the list. I love this one very, very much because it's so funny. Stalin's granddaughter runs an antique shop in Portland. Her name is Chris Evans. No, I'm not. That's it. What more do you need? Stalin's granddaughter, and she looks. I'm not making fun of the way anyone chooses to dress. That is 100% everyone's choice. But she looks like this. Okay, now we're in the really, really weird stuff, and this is the end of the iceberg. And remember when I said that nudity would appear again? Well, Jim Spag's show was a public access TV show in Portland that featured totally uncensored, non-clothed people. Jim Spag himself was the host and frequently appeared without garments. He also apparently once did number 2 live on the show. I don't really want to talk about this one anymore. Ethelbert the Orca was an orca that swam over 100 miles upriver and inland to Portland, up the Willamette River. This caused quite a commotion, as you could probably imagine. And after 2 weeks of a whole lot of discussion about how to get rid of it or kill it humanely, this is true by the way, the actual authorities in the town suggested a humane way to kill it would be dynamite. No, you cannot make this up. That did happen. Anyway, but after 2 weeks of it just living in the river, it was harpooned by a local ex-whaler named Edward Lessard. This guy just was like, whale, and it triggered his PTSD or something, and he went out and he harpooned the whale. And the funniest part to me is that he didn't get any trouble, and the charges against him were dropped because there were no inland whaling laws. That's all I have to say about that. Scott Campbell, a window artist, is also known as Extremo the Clown, and
Now, if you live anywhere near Portland, I know you've seen his car, the one with the working water fountain in the back. Scott is also known as Extremo.
Don't worry, folks, I won't hurt you unless I sense fear.
What exactly is this creature?
This is the result of genetically altered pet food.
Well, that's all the time I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I plan to do more like this. I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, and I figured this was a fun way to start it. So, see ya.